me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta feel the vengeance. In my thoughts.
Welcome back, everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know your thoughts, your ideology. Let me know if you think that I'm kind of talking BS and, you want to tell me something that I should be thinking of. But today, we are going to start looking at the prospects that we should be looking at that the Dolphins probably or might draft. So today we're going to be discussing running backs. We want to look at, I'm going to go round by round who I think we will be able to pick in each round, specifically their talents, their pros, their cons, and I'm going to be looking at kind of the prospects that the Dolphins would be looking at, like what would fill the role. There's a lot of running backs coming out in this class. It's going to be a very, very deep running back class. And yeah, honestly, for me personally, I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. I don't know where we're going to go, but I have this gut feeling that we're going for running back in this draft, at least one of the rounds. Me personally, I think it's going to be round 3. I think round 2, you get somebody else. You know how my ideology is. If you watch my past videos, I believe it's going to be offensive linemen in the first, or not the first, but round 2. And then I 100% believe that the 3rd round offers you the highly touted running backs, and there's going to be a multitude of them, and you can kind of pick and choose on who you want. We're going to go over, obviously I'm not going to go over Bijan Robinson because unless there's some crazy miraculous trade, which, would be cool, but I highly doubt the Dolphins are going to do that. We don't have the cap to trade anybody, and honestly, nobody really wants to trade for the players that we have, and I highly doubt we're going to trade away next year's draft picks to get a running back. So I'm just not going to include him because I just don't believe that the Dolphins have any chance of getting him. But yeah, we're going to start going over round by round each of the running backs in this class, and essentially the ones that I think the Dolphins would target the highest. So round number 2, obviously everybody knows, what I think of when it comes to the premier running back that the Dolphins can get in this class, and it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is in like a planet of his own. He's kind of going to be the running back that can do basically everything, and he's like a running back / wide receiver. He can catch the ball like a wide receiver. He's just an all-around stud. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, everybody's comp for him is going to be Alvin Kamara. He is honestly the guy that everybody thinks he's going to turn into when he turns in the NFL, and it's very understandable because he runs kind of just like Alvin Kamara. But if you go to my notes, so there's going to be pros with him, and the pros are basically what everybody knows. But the pros with this guy is essentially you get a wide receiver that's a running back as well. He is extremely shifty. He is like one of those guys that when he puts his foot in the ground, he's going another direction. His cutting ability is, bar none, some of the best that you can see. He is also one of the guys that, he's very fast, so you're going to be getting that speedster. He runs a 4.36 when he came to the combine, and it shows on tape. On tape, it shows that he's a very fast running back. And like I said, he could be, the only way that I see the Dolphins getting him, honestly, is if he becomes a faller. So there's a possibility that Jahmyr Gibbs can come to Miami, and he would be probably, I just think, he would be the best option at running back, obviously, for the Dolphins to get. If he falls to us, I think you take him because, like I said, the pros are just so great. For a rookie running back, I mean, he's, 5'9", 199, so basically like 200 pounds, 5'9". Hands are the best in this class, I think. He's got the best catching hands in this class. He runs amazing routes. He's just a stud. The only thing that really comes with him is a couple of things when I'm watching his tape is obviously, he's not the greatest pass blocker. He could use a little work on that, but that's something that you could teach over time. That's not something that is just, a big flaw. And then one of the other things that I kind of saw with him, it's not always with him, but sometimes when it comes to inside runs, he sometimes gets a little confused when it comes to trying to find the hole. Basically what I wrote down is that he questions himself when it comes to inside running and like running in between the tackles and the guards. Sometimes it just looks like he's not really sure where he should go. But I mean, there are other times where, you know, he does look really good and he runs right where he needs to go. He runs right through the hole and, you know, bursts out the other side for a big gain. But there are some times where, you know, if the hole doesn't open up immediately, he tends to just kind of like run into a defender or something like that just to get the play started. And again, that's something that you can really change over time. But that's the only thing I saw him. So basically just pass blocking, and sometimes inside running, he might, you know, get a little jumpy when it comes to trying to find in between the guards. So the next running back we're going to discuss that I think is going to go in round 2. I think these are going to be the 2 guys that go in round 2, and then we'll discuss one more that I think is like a borderline. So Zach Charbonnet, obviously everybody knows, I've talked about him in my videos. He's the big bruiser in this class. Essentially what you're going to be getting with Zach Charbonnet is big old running back. The guy is just, I think he's 6 foot 215, big old running back, runs a 4.5, so he's not slow. And he's just going to take multiple defenders with him. He's going to be that guy that, you know, he's not superior in any talent of his. He's not, you know, the best in anything, but he's going to be the guy that just gives you the all-around good running back. You know, he's a good pass catcher. He's a bruiser. He can run through the tackles and through the guards. Also can bounce it to the outside if he wants to. He has moves. You know, sometimes it might slow him down a little bit if he tries to get a little shifty, just because he's a big running back. You know, he's a big guy, so he doesn't necessarily become the most agile. He is shifty. He can be, but for the most part, you know, you know what you're getting with Zach. You're just getting a big guy. I would probably compare him to maybe a Leonard Fournette. That's kind of what I find him to be similar to, is he's got some shaking ability. He's pretty agile, but he's going to be mostly just a guy that, you know, runs linear and can get you, you know, the more yardage that you wanted when he gets into contact with a defender. I think he's really good. I think he's a really good running back. Like I said, I mean, comparison to Leonard Fournette or maybe even A.J. Dillon, something like that. But, you know, he's going to be the guy. You are getting a good pass blocker. You know, he's really good at pass blocking. He's tight. He's a tight running back. And that's warranted because he's a big guy. He's going to be the guy that just lowers his shoulders and tries to get you as much extra yardage as possible, which is great. If people are trying to find that, that is great too. Another big thing that I saw with him is he's actually got really good hands for a big running back. Usually some of these bigger running backs, they're kind of tough when it comes to catching the ball on anything other than a flat route or a screen or something along those lines. You know, Zach can, you know, run a little out route, a little 5-yard out, or maybe even a slant, and he can catch the ball. He's got pretty good hands, you know, for a big guy. So that's going to be a plus that you get with him. But yeah, essentially with Zach, you're going to be getting basically the all-around running back. He's big. He is kind of decently shifty. He can pass block. You know, he can catch. He can run through the tackles. You know, you get everything that you want. Of course, you're not going to be getting the speedster. He's not going to outrun people. You know, that's kind of what, you know, if you're looking for the next running back, he is going to be essentially the fringe running back. So I think he can either go in the second round or he most likely will go in the third. But some people, and I don't know, we'll see how the running back market is in the draft right now, but he's either like a late second or he's going to be in the third round. Most likely he's in the third round, but we're going to be talking about Tyjae Spears. Tyjae is going to be one of my favorite running backs coming out in this draft, and I'll tell you why. So it's basically, he's going to be the guy. He's 5'10", 201, so he is a pretty decently sized running back, but he's also very fast. I think he ran a 4.47 at his pro day, so he is pretty fast for a running back. And if you watch some of his highlights, he just, once he gets out in open space, he's going to be gone. He's one of those types of running backs. So I really like him. He's going to be a guy that Honestly, I can compare him maybe to like I don't know, like a LaShawn McCoy or something along those lines, where he just looks as if his cuts are just so smooth that he's not even really trying. And what's cool about that is, you know, when he gets out in the second level, he is very, very, very well adjusted to just one cutting away from, you know, linebackers and safeties. And like I said, once he gets out in the open field, he is gone. He is a speedster. And he's just going to be that type of running back, you know, that honestly, like I said, LaShawn, he's not as, I don't know, he's not like a shake and bake type of guy, but he's going to be that like smooth cutting, like he just looks like he's not even really trying to change direction. He's just doing it. So, like I said, another one of my favorites in this class. I think he will test out really well when it comes to getting into training camp, and he probably will be a starter on whatever team drafts him. There's just a couple things, you know, obviously a guy like that, his pass blocking is okay. You know, he's not going to be the best one, but he's actually pretty good for a speedster. You know, he's got the size and everything. So if someone just teaches him, you know, how to mix it up and pick up blitzes, he could be a pretty well-adjusted blitz picker upper or a pass blocker for a third down back. So his hands for a running back trying to, you know, become a pass catcher, sometimes he makes really good catches, and then sometimes it's just, I don't know, he's just not sure of himself when it comes to pass catching. Maybe it's like because he gets so jittery that he tends to look forward first before he catches the ball. He can be good, and he's shown, like, there's a catch, I forgot against which team, but who was it? Oh my God, how am I forgetting this? It was against a team where he basically won in overtime by catching this leaping, almost out of bounds catch in the end zone to win the game. So his catches are pretty spectacular. It's just you're also getting sometimes some dumb drops that you're just like, ugh, you know. And honestly, sometimes is a liability, you know, especially when we're talking about running backs. You know, one of the biggest liabilities in the beginning of this season was Chase Edmonds. You know, there was probably 4 or 5 drops, 2 of them for touchdowns and some of them for first downs, that it was just getting annoying, where you just see this guy drop the ball. And that's going to be a liability at the next level, because if you can't hold on to the ball when you're on the field, if they're trying to give you an opportunity to catch the ball and you're continually dropping passes, it's going to be an issue. So that's one of the bigger problems that I see with him. He's a very, very good running back, and he can turn out to be pretty great if he fixes a couple things. There's that, and then honestly, sometimes when it comes to running, he tends to just shoot himself forward instead of patiently waiting for the blocks to open up, and he kind of just doesn't really give the blocks a second to work. Now, of course, he's playing on a Tulane, so he's not, you know, with one of the better offensive lines in college, but like I said, he gets very jittery when it comes to running the ball, and sometimes he can just lack patience to allowing the blocks to develop and allowing himself to have a hole that's created, and he'll just bounce it outside sometimes, or, you know, take the early shot at just running right into a defender and calling it a day. Another thing is he doesn't really, you know, give you a power presence, even though he possibly could do that at the next level. You know, just like a Reggie Bush, he eventually learned how to run into players and, you know, cause contact. But Tyjae, he kind of, you know, really just goes down whenever it comes to running the ball. He doesn't really fall forward. He doesn't really lower his shoulders. He doesn't really do, you know, any of that. But like I said, he does a lot of great things. You know, he's a really good running back. When he has the time and he gets a hole, he bursts right through it. And he's just a smooth runner. Like, the kid is he just looks smooth when he's doing it, you know. And then when he hits that second gear, it's like he's gone. So he's just an all-around really good running back. And like I said, you're going to be getting the speedster that he can also develop that power. And honestly, for a speedster, he's pretty good at pass blocking, you know, which is going to be a big plus. He can pick up blitzes, and he can do that. It's just he's got to fix the hands, and he's got to be a little bit more patient when he's running the ball. Now we're going to go to round 3, and this is where I really do think that the Dolphins are going to pick up, you know, their running back of the future. I do think that there's a lot of options in this round, and I really don't think. I think you can get somebody really good in the second round and then just get your running back here. I even think that Tyjae might fall into the third round too. But we're going to go to the first person that I am going to suggest. And this is probably going to be my favorite running back to pick up in this draft because of where he's going to be. Because right now he's going to be one of those steals that he got injured before the bowl game. And it was a knee injury. So I don't know if he's going to run his 40 at the pro day, which is going to be crazy because honestly, when you look at him on the field, he is pretty fast and he's kind of a unicorn, and he's going to be my favorite running back in this class. And I think honestly, going to be one of those guys that whoever picks him up is going to be getting a huge surprise at running back because right now they don't grade him very well, which I don't understand. I understand there's some faults, but every running back has faults. But the guy scored a touchdown in every single game that he played this year. He scored 17 touchdowns, I believe. I think it was like 17. Scored in every single game that he played. And honestly, when they were in the bowl game and they didn't have him, clear difference. They got spanked. And I'm not saying it's just because of him, but I'm saying he would have made a huge difference in that bowl game. So we're talking Kendre Miller, my favorite running back coming out in this class. I really think he's a unicorn. So he is 5'11", 215. So he's like one of the bigger running backs in this class. And like I said, if you watch his tape, he's a burner. Like I've seen him run right past people. One of his biggest pluses is just the guy refuses to go down. I mean, you'll watch some of these games and even the short runnage plays. It's like, good Lord, I feel like the defensive players are just in it for the long haul when it comes to trying to tackle him because he just does not want to go down. And it's a rare trait that you see where it's like, somebody that's this quick and this fast, because he is very shifty. Like he can really juke you. He can really move out of the way. He's pretty awesome to watch. And again, another guy that he just refuses to go down. He will not. There are plays where, there's a guy trying to swipe at his legs, grabs a leg, and then Kendre puts his arm down into the ground and bounces himself back up. It's like, dude, it's incredible. Like the guy is ridiculous, and stiff arming is going to be great. And he can shake you too. He can shake you out of your boots. I've seen that happen as well. There's going to be a couple of minuses with him as well, just like every running back. But I think what you're getting in the third round is going to be spectacular. But his pass blocking, he wasn't really in there for pass blocking, which is going to be, something that he needs to work on the next level. And I think he can do it with his size. If you have the proper teacher, he can learn that because he is a bigger running back. 215, 5'11", 215. He's a big running back. And like I said, it's going to be kind of crazy to see what he does in the draft because I don't think he's going to run his 40 at his pro day. I think it's March 30th that TCU does their pro day. I don't think he's going to run a 40. And I think he's going to be one of the faster running backs in this class. You just look at him and once he hits that straight line speed, it's over most of the time. Like he just runs right past everybody. His comp would probably be like a Kareem Hunt, something along those lines. Can really just shake you right out of your boots. Another con that is going to be with him is that he's not very patient sometimes when it is he's not very patient sometimes with the blocking. But that only happens every once in a while. He still also has some times where he lets the blocks develop and, takes it for a big gain, So that's just another thing that he can learn at the next level. It's not that big of a deal. One of the two things that he needs to switch up is, again, he is a bigger running back and he refuses to go down on a lot of plays, but it just looks like sometimes he doesn't try and lower the pads, which I think that would really help him out a lot for one, his own health, because when he's taking hits, but he's not running into people. He's more like, there's only a couple plays that I see that, and he's not lowering the pads to kind of give that person the damage that they need to be dealt when they're trying to tackle him. And I think there's a lot of times that instead of just taking the hit, he could lower his pad level and just run into somebody and create that extra yardage. And like I said, the pass blocking is lacking. He needs to lower his pads, but I don't think I've seen one time where Kendre Miller gets just stopped. Like, it has to be a gang tackle most of the time to bring this guy down, which is just something that you can't teach. You can only find it in certain people, where this guy just does not go down, and it's going to wear down defenses. And like I said, Kendre Miller, he is going to be my favorite running back, and I think you get him in round 3 and you got your starter for the next 7-8 years. I'm telling you, mark this right now. He's the gem in this draft. He's going to be the guy that doesn't do a whole bunch at his pro day, but he's going to be one of the better running backs coming out of this draft. Promise it right now. And I really, I'm telling you right now, I really hope the Dolphins pick him up, because he's going to be a stud. And he can catch. He can catch too. Yeah. So Kendre Miller. The next running back in round 3 that I think we can get, his name is Izzy Abanikanda. And one of his games against Virginia Tech, he scored 6 touchdowns and had 250 yards rushing. 6 touchdowns. If you watch his highlights, it's like half of it is just this one game too, because Virginia Tech just could not stop him. So Izzy Abanikanda, he is 5'10", 216, another bigger running back. Another one of my favorites in this class too. I think he is going to be a stud. Like I said, he's a bigger running back, and he scored 6 touchdowns in a game. This guy plays for Pittsburgh, and he is another speedster. This guy, when he hits the jets, it is over. It's over. I mean, he's just going to run right past everybody. He's actually plays bigger than what it seems like. He's one of those that he will run you over, but he can also run right past you if he wanted to. He's a patient running back. I think a lot of people will say that he wasn't patient at the line, but when I watch a lot of his tape, his Pittsburgh O-line sometimes wasn't good. Like, they just, some of the times you'll see some of the defensive ends just getting right through the gut and just getting right to him. So it's hard to be patient when your O-line isn't good. So he's one of those guys that I think at the next level, when you give him a better offensive line, he's going to turn into a stud as well, because, like I said, his Pittsburgh O-line, I mean, I just saw a bunch of times where they would just let people through left and right, and he would just get stopped right at the line of scrimmage and wasn't really able to do anything. So when you have stuff like that happen, it's hard to be patient, but for the most part, he was very patient. He is pretty good at staying on his feet. He's got a good center of gravity where it's hard to bring him down. And like I said, he'll run right past you. His cuts are very good. He can like take a cut and just run straight forward down to the end zone. I've seen that a lot with him. He's like I said, he turns on the jets and he's going to be gone. And he can really shake you. He can move around. He can do all of that. Again, another one of the things is he's going to be one of those guys that you have to teach pass blocking. He's not, the best pass blocker. Sometimes, he doesn't really get a hand on a blitzer sometimes. It's going to be one of those things. A lot of these rookies, they come out, they're going to be not really that great at pass blocking because they're not asked to do that in their college level. But, like I said, he's a burner, and he could be another gem in this draft. He turns on the jets and he's gone. You can teach him pass blocking. You just get in front of people because he has the size to do it. And I guess his comp would maybe be like Isaiah Pacheco or like I don't know, maybe like a Miles Sanders, something like that. Someone like that, like a one-cut running back. He's not really like overly shake you out of your boots type guy. He'll cut and he'll juke and all that stuff, but he's not gonna move around a lot of defenders. But like I said, once he turns on the jets, he's gone. And again, he has the size and the intangibles that can make him a really good running back if you give him the right teacher. So he's going to be another guy in round 3 that I think if you pick him up, you can mold him into be one of the top running backs as well. Kendre Abanikanda and Tyjae Spears are a lot of my favorite running backs, in this draft. They're all really, really solid running backs. We'll get to, a lot of people want to talk about Devon Achane. I watched his LSU tape, because everybody wanted to talk about that's the tape that really sold him. I'll be completely blunt with you, I still am not a big fan of Devon Achane. I get it, he's fast, but he kind of reminds me of like a smaller, poor man's Chris Johnson. Like Chris Johnson was coming out, he was supposedly small, but he was 190. Devon Achane's 175. And sure, at LSU, when he faced them, maybe he fell forward a couple times when he was running the ball. But again, a guy like that, we had Devontae Smith that came out. He's small, and he goes down immediately. This is different. Like, this guy's a running back. He's going to the next level. You're coming out at 175. I'm sorry, but these linebackers, they're gonna pick you apart. And you're, for somebody that you're gonna be getting in a high round. To be honest with you, I'd rather just get Duece Vaughn. You're gonna get him way later, and to be honest, you'll probably get somebody that. Duece Vaughn is still bigger than Devon Achane. I mean, Devon Achane is going to be the guy that you just use for gadget plays, I think. And I hope he changes, my perspective when he comes in the league. But I don't see it with him. I see that he's very fast. He's not really good at juking. He's more like a one-cut type of runner and just runs right past you. He's a track athlete, So, like I said, comp is probably like a poor man's smaller Chris Johnson, but for the most part, he's fast and agile. I'll give him that, but he's going down when you get a hand on him. He's not going to run past any or run into anybody. There's zero pass blocking ability. They're going to run right through him. So you're also getting that. It's just, for me, just somebody in the third round to spend a third or second round pick on him. I don't see it. For me, it's a no-go for Devon Achane. The next one, Zach Evans. We'll talk about him quick. I mean, he's an all-around good running back. He's 200 pounds, 5'11". He's the type of guy that you have the body type for a running back in the NFL. He's got good burst. He can bounce to the outside and elude. Inner penetration. He's big, he plays big, so you're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle. But for the most part, you need to open a hole for him. He runs pretty tight, so he's not going to, elude a bunch of players, So he's one of those guys that is just going to run in a linear direction. And when he gets, to the second level, he's not going to be like any of these other running backs that I talked about where they can move and shake and do all this other stuff. He's kind of just, cuts and then goes and then, runs into people and that's it. And the problem, too, is he does fumble sometimes. So, Zach Evans, another good all-around running back, still has some fumble issues, but, he'll probably be a pretty decent starter in the league, whoever gets him in the third round, I think. Sean Tucker, another guy, good all-around running back. He's another guy I could see the Dolphins going for. He is like the one best thing I can describe about Sean Tucker is that once he gets to a point where he's going to cut and go, he is like he's shot out of a rocket. Like you'll see, like his acceleration is mind-boggling. Like the guy literally can go from 0 to 60 like in a second. Like I watched this tape and it's like some of these plays he's like he's running and then all of a sudden he just turns it up and he's just going, where a lot of these running backs, they're running and then they need to really turn it on. But Sean Tucker, he can be at like a full stop and then just run a 4.5 like as fast as he can, just in a second. So really good like that. One cut can do that. One cut and just burst through the line of scrimmage. And, he's got all of that, running inside, running outside. He's really good. He's a very consistent running back. He's fast too, so he can burn some people. But, the shaking and all that stuff, it might be a concern with him. He doesn't really bounce anything wide, and he's not a good pass protector. He's going to be like that too. And he's just not very dynamic. He runs linear. He doesn't do a lot of like cutting and shaking and moving all that. He's got amazing burst. Don't get that wrong. But he's just not going to be a really like super crazy dynamic running back, which could work really well in the NFL. Like, I think Sean Tucker is another one of my favorites coming out in this draft with just that incredible burst that he has coming out of the line of scrimmage. But yeah, like I said, pass protection needs something, and he needs to maybe get a little more less stiff when it comes to running the ball, and just become more fluid, you know what I'm saying, and use that speed to his advantage. All right, the last couple running backs that we're going to talk about, we're going to go like round 6-ish. Round 7, this could be the same type of thing, but we're going to start off with Roschon Johnson. If you haven't heard of him, it's because he was the backup to Bijan Robinson. Roschon Johnson is going to be that big, bruising running back. He just tries to take contact every time he runs the ball. He was the backup, so he didn't get many touches. So he could be an underlying sneaky running back that you get way later. He runs a 4.58. And he is 6 foot 219, so almost 220, and he runs like it. Like, he runs like a big old power back, just churns the ball, will make the other defense just question trying to tackle him. He's that type of guy, doesn't fumble, just runs everybody over that he runs to, and he's kind of decently quick. Like, he's not slow, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to burn you, but he's not a slow running back by any means. So he's going to be a guy that once he gets like the angle, and once he gets the motor moving in a run, he's going to be hard to stop. He is a pretty good pass protector as well. He knows how to pass block. Obviously he's bigger, so he should be knowing how to do that. You're not going to be getting like the shaky moving around, juking and all that stuff. You're not going to get that with him. You're not going to get the guy that's going to move you out of your socks, but he's going to be the guy that puts his shoulders pads equal to your chest and runs right into you when you're in front of him. So going to be like that. If you slow him down, he's not going to move fast, and again, he's just not going to cut and do all these agile things that all the other running backs do. But if you are trying to just get that big old bruiser that'll just make the defense get tired quicker because they got to tackle this big old dude, then that's what you're going to be getting with this guy. My next guy, he's going to be my favorite guy to get in round 6. He's going to be a guy that, a lot of people are not going to want to get him because he's so small. But, I mean, God, when you watch the tape on this dude, it's going to be ridiculous. We're talking about Duece Vaughn. Kansas State, he has been their main superstar for the past 3 years. He's going to be the guy. I mean, honestly, I know it's a very crazy comp, but he reminds me of a little bit of Barry Sanders. Like, I mean, the guy is just, it's hard to tackle him. Like, there are plays where 3 defenders are trying to get him and nobody gets him. There are plays where it's just like he's in the backfield, you think he's tackled, and all of a sudden he's running for like 20 yards. Duece Vaughn is one of my favorite guys to get in like round 6 because it's going to be hard. I don't think a lot of teams are going to want to take a chance on him just because he's so small. He's 5'5", 180, 5'5". It's small, but he is just one of those guys. Obviously, you're not getting a pass protector at all. He cannot pass block. He's too small to do that. He is going to be the guy that you know what you're getting. I mean, it's like one of those dudes that, honestly, if he was in a bigger body, he'd probably be the most elite running back in this class. And it's unfortunate, but the guy is just a stud. I think whoever gets him in the late rounds, you're going to be getting a guy. I mean, he can wind up in the slot as like a receiver. His hands are amazing. I mean, he does so many things so well. And like I said, the most agile, the most shifty, like the most elusive running back, I think, in this class. Just based upon, when he's out in the open field, you're not tackling him. And he can turn on the jets. So I love Duece Vaughn. In round 6, if you want to get a really solid running back that can turn into something special possibly, I think you take a shot on him just because if you look at his tape, everybody wants to talk about Devon Achane in the LSU game that, he played big, but watch Duece Vaughn's tape. He plays much bigger than he is, and he is so hard to bring down. For a little guy, I mean, you wouldn't even notice it. He's got long strides. He's very fast, and just, I can go on for days about Duece Vaughn. I think whoever takes a shot on him in this draft, in the later rounds, you might be getting your starting running back. A Maurice Jones-Drew type guy, but more Sanders-ish, more like it's hard to even touch him when he's out in the open field. Like, he really makes a lot of defenders look like dumb. And The last guy I think I'll mention is Keaton Mitchell and Deneric Prince. Going to be fast guys. You know, they don't offer you much. Keaton Mitchell he drops the ball a lot when you throw the ball to him. So, you know, I don't think he's going up high. He's a speedster, so you know what you're getting. You know, you might be getting a special teamer or something like that. You're not going to be getting, I don't think you're starting running back. He's small. So, you know, he drops the ball a lot too. So that's also another liability. No pass blocking. You know, but he's a really, really fast guy. I think he ran one of the fastest times for a running back in this combine. And Deneric Prince at Tulsa, another fast burner guy, 4.41 I think he ran. But just, you know, not very agile, not very creative, not a lot of those things. Just kind of like if he gets open, he's running. But, you know, he's a bigger guy that's fast, but doesn't do a whole bunch else besides that. So those are going to be my running backs that I would take in this draft. Those are all the prospects that I think that the Dolphins are looking at. Again, you know, we'll see. Like I said, my favorite would be Kendre Miller, Tyjae Spears, or Abanikanda. We get any of those three, especially Kendre Miller. That's going to be my favorite. But you get any of those guys, you're going to have a stud. And then Duece Vaughn in the later rounds, I think, is my favorite out of the later round running backs. But like I said, we'll see what they do. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if you want me to do more like this or what you think, or another running back that I didn't mention. But as always, have a great rest of your day. Fins up. Peace. Baby, are you doing something?
That's why I wash my hands.
What are you doing?